Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sabrina and I'm back with another Excel tutorial for you. Now, if this is your first time here and you're looking to develop your Excel skills, then start now by subscribing and hitting that bell icon so that you don't miss out on any new updates. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can highlight the maximum value in your column chart automatically. So if you look at my spreadsheet here, you can see I've got a table of data on the left with a list of different food categories. Okay, and then for each category, I've got the revenue earned in 2021. Now, this data I've already transferred into a column chart on the right. Okay, so you can see that there's a column for each food category with the value displayed at the top. Okay, for each column. Right. Now, what I want this column chart to do is I want it to automatically highlight the maximum value in a different color. And if that maximum value changes, okay, I want the chart to be able to pick that up automatically and change the color of that column. Okay, so if you look at my chart now, you can instantly tell that the maximum value is for the snacks category, okay, which is $12,300. So I want this chart to basically change the color of this column into a different color so that I can quickly see which one or which category has, done well compared to the others. So now to do that, you would need the help of a formula, which I'm going to enter into column D. So I've basically inserted an extra column, which is basically like my helper column. And I'm basically going to put the formulas in this column to work out which value is the maximum out of this whole range. And then eventually, I'm going to expand this chart to include this column and plot another data series. So what I mean by data series is literally just going to plot an extra column on the right of each category. Okay, but I'm going to do it in such a way that it only plots an extra column for the category which is the highest value. Okay, so it doesn't do it for the rest, it only does it for the one with the highest value. Okay, so you'll see how that will be done. So to start with the formula, you would select the first cell in your helper column, okay? And then now you can double click into that cell to start the formula, or you can go up to the formula bar and just click into the formula bar to type the formula in. So you would type equal, and then you would type if. So we're going to start off with an if formula, because what we're going to tell this formula to do is have a look at this range of cells and determine whether that value in that cell is the maximum. Okay, and if it is, then do this, and if it's not, then do that. Okay, so you'll see how that works logically. So you would start with if, you would type open bracket, you would select the cell that you want to put in your formula, or the one that you want to compare. So what you're saying here is if this cell is the maximum. Now, for the maximum, you need to put in the maximum formula. Okay, so you would type equal max. So you're nesting in another formula in there. And then you would type open bracket again because it's a new formula. So here you're saying if B2, okay, which is this cell, if that value equals maximum. Now you need to tell the maximum formula which range do you want me to look at, or which range of cells do you want me to look at and compare to work out or to determine whether that value is the maximum or not. Okay, so all you would do is you would click and hold on the first cell. You would then drag it down, okay, to include the rest of the cells, and that would input the cell reference numbers in there for you automatically. So it's inputted B2 to B5, okay? So once you've selected your cell range for your maximum value, you would then press the closed bracket key, Okay, so now the formula reads, if B2 equals the maximum value, okay, so you've already told the maximum formula to look in this range, okay, and determine whether that value is the maximum or not. Okay, so now you need to tell the formula if that statement is true, so if this value is the maximum, then what should that formula return? So you're going to put a comma and you're going to specify a value if this statement is true. So if this statement is true, for example, if this value is a maximum value, then you want the formula to return that value in this cell. Okay, so you would just select that cell again. Okay, you would then put a comma in and then specify what value do you want to return if that statement is false. Okay, so here you're saying, however, if that value is not the maximum, then you want the formula to return an NA error message. So you would type NA, open bracket, close bracket, okay? And that would basically return an NA error message. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because NA errors does not display or does not plot a column on your chart. So what that will ensure is that a column will only be plotted, okay, or an additional column will only be plotted for the category that has the maximum value, okay? So going back to the formula, you would then put in another closed bracket because we want to make sure that we've closed all the arguments and all the formulas. Now, the way I ensure that is I would always look at my first bracket in the formula and look at the color of that bracket, which is white. So what you want to make sure is that the last bracket that you enter in should also be the same color as your first one, which is white in this case, okay? So once you've closed all your arguments and all your formulas, you would then press the Enter key on your keyboard. And there you go. So the formula has returned an NA error message. Why? Because that cell or that value in that cell is not the maximum value out of that range that we selected. So therefore it's returned the NA error message, okay, which is perfect. Right, now what I can do is I can copy and drag that formula down to the rest of the cells. Now, before I do that, what you want to make sure is if you go back to your first formula, where you see your maximum cell range, okay, you want to make your cell range absolute. What do I mean by that is that absolute cell references basically makes sure that your cell range stays exactly the same. So it doesn't move down as you drag the formula down, okay? So it looks in the same place. So to make that absolute, what you would do is you would just click before the B icon, okay? And you would put a $sign there. So you would put a $sign in front of the B. You would put a $sign in front of the number 2. And you would do the same for the other B. So you put a $sign in front of the B again and put another $sign in front of number 5. Oops, not a percentage, a dollar. Okay, so you're putting basically 4 $signs there in front of the B and in front of the 2, and then a third one in front of the B again, and then in front of the 5, like this. Okay, I'll just click away from there so you can see it well. Okay, and now you can press the Enter key on your keyboard again to save that formula. And now you can copy and drag that formula down. So what you would do is you would select the first cell with the formula. You would then click on the fill handle, which is basically the green square in the bottom right-hand corner of that cell. So if you just hover your mouse over the green square, you will see a black cross. You want to click and hold on that fill handle. So just click and hold your mouse and then drag your mouse down to the rest of the cells to copy and drag the formula down. So once you've dragged it down, you would then release your mouse, and there you go. So the formula has been copied, and you can see that in the first 3 cells, it's returned an NA error message, because the first three values, okay, are not the maximum values. Whereas the fourth value that's the maximum value out of that whole range. So for the last cell there, it's returned the actual value as a result, which is what we asked the formula to do anyway. Okay. Now, the next step you want to do is you want to expand this chart to include this new column, okay, which is column D in my case. So to include this new column of data, you would click into the chart area. You will then see in your data table, okay, you'll see a blue line, which is basically your cell range that you selected for your chart. Okay, so it's telling you that your chart basically is representing this data here. Okay, so to expand that, you would need to click on the fill handle, which is on the blue line. So you would just hover your mouse over the blue square in the bottom right-hand corner of that selection. Okay, so you just hover your mouse over it until you see a double black arrow like so. You would click and hold your mouse, and then you would drag your mouse towards the right to include that extra column, which is column D. So once you've included column D in that range, you would release your mouse, and you can see there that it's basically added an extra column or plotted an extra series, okay, for the category with the maximum value. And it's not done it for the others, okay, because for the others, the data table has an NA error message. And if you remember, the column chart does not plot an extra column for NA errors, okay? It only does it for actual values. So that's why it's only plotted an extra column for the one with the maximum value. Now what you want to do is you of course don't want to have two columns, okay, for that maximum value. So you want to basically overlap your maximum value series, okay, so you want to overlap that and put it on top of your first series, okay, so you basically want to put your green column, okay, on top of your orange one, so you want to overlap your series. Now to do that, what you would do is you would select the chart, you would go up to the Format tab, you would then go to the current selection group, and then you would click on Format Selection. This will open up Format Chart area on the right-hand side, okay? Now the first thing you want to do here is you want to click on the drop-down on the right where it says Chart Options. So you click on the drop-down there, the drop-down arrow. And then in this list, you want to select Series Maximum Value. Okay, so if you click on Series Maximum Value, you want to then you'll see three different options underneath it, okay? And the last one, the third one, is if you hover your mouse over it, it's Series Options. So if you click on that, you would then make sure Primary Axis is selected. And then where you can see series overlap, you basically want to change that to 100%. So you can drag the slider towards the right, or you can just use the upward or the upward arrow to change that to 100%. So I'm just going to drag the slider towards the right to make that 100%. And you can see on the left, okay, it's overlapped my series or my columns. So if I close this now, okay, I can now only see one column, okay, for my maximum value instead of the two, because both of the columns are now overlapped. So going back to my data table, now if I change this data, okay, so say for example, snacks was no longer the maximum value, crackers was, okay, so what you would do in that instance is you would change your data. So say crackers was now $15,400, okay, which makes that the highest value in my range. So if I click away from that cell, you'll see, okay, that my formulas have changed. So the value has displayed for crackers instead, and for the rest it's NA. And on the right, you can see that on my chart, snacks is no longer the maximum value, so it's not highlighted in green anymore. Crackers has automatically changed its column, the color of the column, and changed it to green to represent that this is now my highest value. Okay, so I hope that's made sense. It did end up being a very lengthy explanation, but I was just trying to explain to you the logic behind the formula and how it works, so that it's easy for you to understand. However, if you didn't understand something or you have any questions, please do put it in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you found this video useful, then guys, please do like and share the video so that it can reach out to more people. And do consider subscribing because I do post new content on a daily basis. So, you know, it will be good for you to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the new updates. All right, guys. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.